Alright, so I have my Super Cub here. Alright, Super Cub. I'm going to do a valve adjustment, so I actually took off the valve caps already. Valve cover caps. Top and bottom, just my little valve cover right down there. That's an 8mm. And I also took off the spark plug, which is on the other side. That's a 16mm. Here, I took off these two caps already. This top one is a 6mm Allen, and this bottom is an 8mm Allen. And the nut inside here is a 17mm. Okay. Let's see. What you need to do is put this thing in neutral. Let me put this thing in neutral first. Okay, it's in neutral, so I can spin it easily. And what you want to do is looking here, in the 10 o'clock position, right in here. So you guys can see that. Right in there, you just see a little groove, a little slit in the 10 o'clock position on the threads right there. You have to line that up with the timing mark that's on the it's on the flywheel here. That's you know, it'll show a T on it, a T and an F. A T is the top dead center, and the F is where it fires. So let me find that. I haven't, you know, that's why I have this out like this, so that way you guys could see when I get to that point. I haven't found it yet. So put in your 17mm, and right now there's a little, you know, like a little dot right there. Each one of where those dots are on the outside of this this flywheel, this stator flywheel, there's a little I don't know what that thing is called, a little bump that comes up for the pickup, for the ignition pickup. So that's one right there, and that's a bunch of those. There's another one. Oops! Oh, there it is. There's the timing mark. Yep, does that timing? I can't tell. Let me get my head in there a little closer. No, that's an F. So right now it's an F. So that means that's the firing mark. So right next to it should be a T. So usually fires right before the F is right before the T. So this is a F. The next one should be a T. Right there. There it is. That's the T. So remember how it works is that so that's T is top dead center. F is where it fires. Ignition, spark ignition, it always fires before top dead center. You know, by the time you wait till top dead center and it fires, it's because, you know, when the gas ignites, you know, it's a chemical reaction, and it does take a little bit of time. So that's why you can't have it fire at top dead center, because it takes a little bit of time. By the time the gas ignites, you'll be past top dead center already. So that's why it's like that. So anyway, so it's got the T in there. So you guys can see that. See that? You see the line that runs across, and right below that line that runs across, there's a T right there. Alright, so the other one was an F. Okay, so now I'm good. Now I could go back to my valve cap here, of my valves, and I could check them. Let me see. I should do the bottom one first, or do the bottom one on screen. I'm probably gonna do the top one off screen, so that way it's it'll be, because the top one's kind of difficult because there's the air box right here in the way, so you have less clearance. It's just gonna be harder for me, and it's gonna take a long time. So it might be, you know, better if I did that off screen. And so I'm gonna switch the camera over to a different mount. It's gonna be a little shaky for a brief moment. Okay, different mount here. The lower tripod, basically. The other tripod was actually on a gimbal, so it's nice and stable. This tripod here is just a tripod only. It's actually one of those Joby tripods. If you know what I'm talking about. Let's see. Maybe over like this would be better, I think. Okay, I think that would be a better angle for you guys to see. Okay, that way the camera's not in my way either. So here on the bottom one is the exhaust. So exhaust is 7 thousandths of an inch, or 0.007. That's that one right there, 0.007. That's the target, and give or take a thousandth of an inch. So the maximum is 8. So I have an 8 right here, 7,000 and 8,000. I'm gonna use the I'm 6 or 7 in there first, just to see how it feels. Oh man, that's tight. So I was actually expecting it to be tight because I rode it pretty damn hard. Man, that's totally tight right there. This thing is not even, yeah, this thing has no wiggle whatsoever. Usually tells you it's tight. Usually when you get to the top dead center, you can grab the valve, tap it, and you could, you know, wiggle it. And that's when you know it's all right. Okay, so it's very tight. There's no space in there. Let me try my 4. So the exhaust is 7 and the intake is 4. So I have a 4 right here. See if that one fits. Ooh, even that one's tight. Holy cow! Now I'm wondering if this thing is in the proper position. It said top dead center, so I should be right. Man, that's really tight. So let me so I have this valve tool here. So this right here is a 9mm for this tappet, and this is a little square drive for the inside of the tappet. Here's a little square on the inside, so that way I can hold my my tappet in the correct spot. But with this right here, I can hold it in the correct spot while I tighten the nut and I don't lose my place. So here I have to actually loosen it. So right now I'm losing it, but the thing is still in place right here. So let's go back to that 7 again. Let's go back to 7. Nope, still too tight. I'm gonna use my thingamabob, my square drive here. Loosen this up until I can get that in. Man, that's not right. This whole thing is moving. Did I get my timing mark right? Get my timing mark. Yeah, that's right. Oh, you know what? Top dead center in the wrong spot. So there's 2 top dead centers. There's a top dead center in the dang it, I got the top dead center in the wrong spot. I'm glad I made that mistake. Well, it doesn't matter, I would loosen this. But actually, I'm glad I made that mistake because let me loosen this some more. Because so there's 2 top dead centers. Let's go back to that. So each time the crank goes around, hit a top dead center twice, because remember how a 4-stroke works. So then a 4-stroke, basically, you know, the piston's going up and down 4 times. So it gets to top dead center twice. So one top dead center is at the ignition, and the other top dead center, you know, the top dead center that you want is where the ignition happens, where the spark happens, where it combusts. The other top dead center is the top of the exhaust stroke. Top exhaust stroke before the intake stroke. So the one that you want is the top of the compression stroke. So I'd actually need to spin this one more time around again. So I'm gonna do that. I don't think you guys need to see this. Let me go back to the spot here, so that way you guys could hopefully see this valve move. Oops, right in there. That's about the center of the camera, yeah? Okay. I totally forgot about that. That's my mistake right there. Oh, shit. That's too faster. Usually when the engine is, usually when at the top dead center and bottom dead center, the it wants to kind of stay at those spots. Okay, so I found my F mark, firing mark. There's my top dead center right there. And if you want to double check, if you're not sure, one thing you could always do is stick something in the where the spark plug is, and you should actually feel the piston. Let's see, what's my spark plug hole? My spark plug hole is right there. I'm sticking on this little wire here that I used as a pointer earlier. Oh, where's my hole again? There it is. Oh, that's not it. Oh, there it is. And you should feel the piston, and the piston is, yeah, it's right there. It's stopping right there, so that's the piston at the top. Okay, so it should be clear here. Okay, now there's all this wiggle room. Earlier, I had just turned it so that way it just barely wiggled. Now look at that, all that wiggle room. So I'm actually glad, I'm really glad I made that mistake. So people that never done this before could make that mistake and you don't realize it, and you have your valve too loose. So now I don't even know if my thing was too loose or too tight or whatever. It's, you know, because I had loosened it already. So yeah, so I don't know, unfortunately. Oh well. So I get my target one, which is 7 thousandths, stick it in there, turn this thing until basically, because this thing is like, I can barely slide it in and out. That means it's a little bit on the tight side. If I turn it more, this thing doesn't move at all. If I loosen it up too much, it moves too easily, right? It's moving too easily. There's no resistance whatsoever. So I'm gonna get it just enough where it moves, but there's very light resistance. And when you do this, this filler has to be flat on that face. So let's say this is the face here, my hand. If the filler is flat on there, it slides smoothly. If the filler is actually like angled like so, what happens is the edge it actually catches, and it feels like it's having a lot of resistance, and you feel like you think it's tight, but it's not. So that's important. So what I do is I actually bend the filler gauge like so, like this, so that way it lays flat, and I could slide it like so. If I don't, you know, I bring it at an angle, it will get hung up. Okay, so bend a little bit. So oops, that's a little bit tight there. So it's too tight right there. That feels just about right. Right there, that's good right there. So I'm pretty much right on my mark. Now we can get the full tool here. Let's see. Okay, so it's right there. So now I need to double check again. I just loosened it a little bit loose. Tighten it up a little bit, tighten it up a little bit. Okay, now it's too tight. Okay, a little too loose. Okay, a little too tight. It's not much, you know. It's not much at all. You know, it's too tight there. Okay, that's good right there. Now what I could do is I could actually take the 8,000 and set it on the 8,000 on the loose one, when you're 1,000 too loose, because this is the exhaust side. Exhaust side tends to get tighter, not looser. So I could leave it. Man, it's so cold. My hands are like frozen. I could barely move my hands. I could let me loosen this up a little bit. So I could leave it at 8,000 and like so. Leave it on 8,000 and later on, when, you know, as it gets tighter, it'll be okay. It'll still be okay. It'll be definitely within spec. But that usually means that you do that. That usually means, since it's a little bit, you know, even though it's within spec, it's on the loose end of spec. You might get a little bit less, power potentially. Right, so right about there, you know, that's good right there for 8,000s. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm actually gonna leave it at spec, which is 7,000s. Man, my hands are really cold. I can barely move my left hand right now because it's so cold right now. So fall is definitely here. I don't know what time it is. It's probably like at least 10 o'clock at night right now, if not later. Okay, so that's good right there. Have a good amount of, oops. So that's good right there. I'm gonna hold this right in place, tighten my nut. Alright. Okay, nut's pretty tight. Double check. Yep, still feels the same. So that's good. I'm gonna definitely tighten it down now. Okay, that's it. Like that. So that's basically your valve adjustment right there. So that's good. It's perfect. Perfect amount of resistance. That's it. So I'm gonna do the same thing with the top. But the top's harder because this, because of the airbox. There's a lot of, a little bit, not much space, so it's harder. The bottom here is easier because it's, plenty of space here. But it's the same thing. So the bottom is 7,000s, the top is 4,000s. Is the target, okay? So I'm not gonna, record the top because you saw how long the bottom took. The top's gonna take even longer. All right, so thanks for watching.